What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you guys go ahead and do so. Today we're going over everything that's broken on my JKU, and honestly it's kind of a long list, but we have beat on this thing for a year straight on this setup, and really nothing major has broken, just a bunch of small stuff, but added up it's quite a long list, and it's honestly a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys everything that's broken on this, then obviously we'll go ahead and fix it in the coming weeks, months, stuff like that. Just got to get ready for next season because I do plan to go to a ton of shows. But before we do that, let me show you how much this thing was beat on throughout the year. Alright, so let's go ahead and just work our way from the front. As you guys know, I have to hook the battery charger up every morning to get this thing started. It needs a new battery. Honestly, actually, all three Jeeps need a new battery, so that's relatively expensive. But we're going to go ahead and get new batteries for all the Jeeps just so that way they start when I want them to without having to charge them, because that's just super annoying. Next up is an issue Wranglers are notoriously bad for, and that is a cracked windshield. Mine's cracked all the way across in multiple places. And in addition, this windshield wiper is no longer hooked up. There's one motor that powers both wipers, and I believe I just messed up the linkage on the passenger side. So we're going to have to take it apart and put that all back together and make sure it's set up right. Next up is tires. So these are getting pretty low. They got about 35% tread left. So I'm going to go ahead and swap them out. I'd preferably rather swap them out at 50, but unfortunately these tires are no longer in stock. They're Nitto Trail Grappler 40 1350 R17s, and I cannot find them really anywhere. So next question is, do we go to 42s? I think 42s would look really good on this Jeep and make it look a little bit bigger. I'm super happy with how it looks now and would definitely get another set of 40s if they're in stock anywhere, but maybe we'll go 42s, who knows. Next on the list is fender liners. Now this isn't like it broke. It's more of a like I took it off and then never put it back together. But fender liners are definitely needed because this looks ugly. I did actually pick up a set of fender liners throughout the summer when we cut my fenders, and I didn't really like them. They riveted in instead of bolted in, and I wanted to be able to take them in and out in case I needed to access anything behind them, or when I put rock plates that would be super simple. So I didn't want to have to rivet them in. I wanted something that bolted in. So we'll order a new set sometime and get that all set up. I had to rip this side out because it kept getting caught in the tire and making a terrible sound as I would turn. It get caught up in there, and the other side's beginning to do it now too. So definitely going to have to change that. The next thing's actually on the interior, and it's these Brougham seats. Now they have held up very well. They're about 2.5 years old, but they're starting to tear and get all messed up. So gonna have to go ahead and get new seats. These held up very well for budget seats. Probably switch over to PRP seats and get some custom seats made and see how I like those. Switch out the harnesses. Maybe we'll go ahead and put these seats and harnesses in the blue Grand Cherokee. I'm not sure yet on that one. Next on the list is rock sliders. So these actually did hold up really well. I have no complaints like strength wise about these. The only complaint I do have is actually that they hold water and mud and all of that. So as you can see, down here is just full of mud. Honestly, this mud's probably been in here for months now at this point because I haven't really been in the mud recently. And it fills up with water, and as you can see, it creates quite the rust issue. All of the coating is just peeling off down here, and it's all rusty and just, it doesn't look good at all. So we're going to go ahead and have to replace those. Both sides are the same exact way. They just don't drain water how they should. So we're going to go ahead and pick up another set and replace them. I do actually really like how these go up at an angle and protect more of the body than some other designs. So I'm definitely going to get a similar setup, a similar design, just different rock sliders that don't hold mud and don't hold water down in there. The next thing on the list is in the back here, or the next couple things is in the back here. So for starters is this bumper. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see on camera, but this thing is not really fitting the Jeep right anymore after hitting it on so many rocks. This is just a cheap bumper, but it wiggles up and down and it makes some weird sounds sometimes. And in my opinion, it's just sort of ugly. It sticks out way too far. So we're going to go ahead and replace it. I'll probably replace it with a frame chop rear bumper. That way it doesn't stick out like this. The frame chop bumper will make it a little bit tighter, better departure angle. It's the same as what we did in the front, and you guys can see how good this front is. We basically cut the frame, pulled the bumper back some, and this is now the new frame cross member. But the approach angle on this Jeep is really good. So I want to do kind of a similar thing on the rear. I think that would benefit us a lot off-roading. And we basically cut from here to here, possibly push it in some, and then go ahead and just replace it with a new bumper. I also don't want these tubes on the side because they look ugly in my opinion as well. So we're just going to change up the whole rear bumper setup. Next thing is actually this, which is super small, but I want my license plate over here with a light and a backup camera. It's just such a small thing, but it looks so much better than the license plate on the side. It's so ugly like that, and I mean, as you guys can tell, I really haven't done anything to the back of this Jeep besides delete the spare and put an ugly bumper on. Next up is taillights. So these actually fill with water. Sometimes they get water inside. Right now, I guess the water's frozen because you can't really see it. But I kind of want to replace these with circular taillights. I really like how those look, and I think they're really cool. So we could either go ahead and not put the fender armor on and put circular taillights in here, or we can go ahead and put all the armor on, get it all beefed up so that way it's stronger, and then we'll go ahead and put the circle taillights in. I think that would look really cool, and I definitely want to go circle, so I'm not sure if I want to do the armor yet or not, but we're definitely going circle taillights on this thing sometime, probably next year. And the next thing is shocks. So these shocks are actually pretty old. They're like 2.5 years old. They're the Bilstein shocks, the dual reservoir shocks, and they've held up really well. I have no complaints about them because I destroy this Jeep all the time. Even when we're just driving on the road, we're never driving like responsibly, I guess you would say. So they're starting to leak and they're just getting old and worn out, so they need to be replaced soon. I'm thinking maybe it's time for coilovers and long arms, especially now after having long arms on the WJ. I definitely want them on this Jeep as well. But I'm thinking coilovers are definitely in my future. I want to look into that more and see exactly what I want and see pros and cons to each setup. But I'm thinking coilovers are the way to go from here. But guys, that basically wraps up everything wrong with the Wrangler. Pretty long list and quite a bit of things I have to do to it, which sort of sucks. But it's kind of just part of building these Jeeps and wheeling them, is they're going to break, they're going to have issues, and they're going to have things you want to upgrade. So now comes upgrading them. So I'm going to be making some more videos on this Jeep shortly once we start to get parts in to fix it. So as always, guys, thank you so much for the support on the previous videos, and I'll see you in the next one.